Have a good vacation, guys. Hey, hey. How are you? I'm just gonna give it a couple minutes. Then I'll go ahead and start. I can always email the class after the fact. Mr. Williams, I'm going to text you. If you can hear me, I'm proposing something really quickly that what I can do is just go ahead and go along with the normal proceedings for the class. And then that way just record the live so that way the kids can just get it emailed. What do you think about that? Let me know what you think. I know it's a little bit of a delay on the live. Okay, cool. Perfect. All right. So let's go through the itinerary for today. And I apologize. Unfortunately, the monitor is broken. So we're going to have to work with the iPad today. So we're going to start in tandem like we normally do, which is just going through exactly what the schedule is going to be for today. So here I have it a bit inverse, that the very first project that we have is something that I would prefer to have at the end of class, or if not next week, because that goes more into testing what our style proclivities are. So it's kind of like a test just to go over everything that we've done since we've been working together virtually. But nonetheless, it still provides you with all of the materials that you're going to need, which is what I'm going to read. So I'm going to turn the screen just a bit by saying that you're going to need glue, scissors. I'm providing a style quiz, so that's just something that's emailed to you guys. Just blank paper, magazines if you happen to have them, pencils, so just writing instruments as well. So again, don't feel pressured that if you don't have the magazines that it's going to be a problem or that you're still not able to do the project. We can always just substitute. But I do understand the circumstances that we're currently under. So that being said, you know, if adaptations need to be made, then let's just go ahead and make them. So anyway, the breakdown is this, that we're going into review of last week, which is going to be a little interesting because it's taking a little while for everybody to get online right now. So essentially, you guys know that we were operating from the denim project from this book, okay? So everybody has the electronic version of that information. So once you flip it to page 15, it's going to break down exactly what the illustrations are. I tend to be more of a visual learner than a literal learner. So if somebody aligns with that particular thought process, that's where we have those tools set into place to make it as easy for you as possible. Just go ahead and take a look at the pictures. And the pictures will just kind of scale it to exactly what it should look like. All right. So once you guys have your denim, we all should be at the same point, which I am right here, laid out on my counter, of us having the bags that have already been assembled. So you have to create your belt, and your accessories and embellishment is what is going to be added. Lord, what is going on with me today? Ugh, pollen. Anyway, which is what is going to be added today. Okay. Then we're going into us learning a bit about upcycling. Again, we're selecting projects that'll be easier for you guys to be able to do at home. So it's really building upon these concepts that we've already embedded throughout the course of the school year. And then now you can put it into play because it's a real life sort of application. So from there, I can show you how you can use some home goods in order to paint. How to measure it out so your lines are actually accurate, and it can be something that you're satisfied with. So if that's good, then we can proceed. So let's go ahead and skip the test, but that's the template that everybody should have received. So again, if it happens to be that your parents are saying, I don't want you to utilize any of the clothing that you have, what have you, well, you can always utilize this too and still be able to provide the design concepts or conceptualize exactly what your design is using just that. Okay, got to think of everything. Then we go into the samples of what that looks like. So those are some goods that we've had previously. So previous students and what they've done with that and how they've been able to recreate some of the looks. So that looks kind of interesting. There's some dresses, there's tanks, there's skirts. You can do a lot with a little. Okay, so don't think that you need it all. We can work with what you have. Those are the instructions. So everybody should have received the instructions too. And then, of course, you need some samples that are going to display exactly what it should look like. So earlier on in my discourse, I mentioned how you're able to paint using home goods. So again, this is just based on how you outline your lines, okay? So for me, I generally like to use rulers just so I can make sure that my lines are straight and they're accurate. But you definitely need some tape, or you need a little bit of imagination to ensure that this turns into that. Okay? Same thing if you happen to be making like letters, it's all how you tape it off. So this is Rad Dad here using tape. Once this is removed and you spray over it, then this is going to be white space. So it's negative space. So keep in mind when you're using tape and tape areas off, it creates negative space. So negative space would be the white lines if it's a white t-shirt. If it's a black t-shirt, then it's going to be black lines, so on and so forth. Another sample. Another sample. So we see how creative you can get using your tape. Don't feel confined to just do straight lines. You could do vertical, you can do horizontal, you can do diagonal, you can do zigzag, whatever you like, okay? Again, the difference is this, understanding negative space, right? Versus the space that is the sprayed and colored area. Then those just go into more just hand painting techniques, which are a little different. Okay, so I'll show you this methodology, and going into next week, we can go into the other areas. So anyway, let's pick back up to where we were last week. So last week, we were at this perspective of you guys creating your bags. And like I said, I love a big bag. Everybody sees that. I'm a bag girl anyway. So in that, the larger for me, the better, because I always tend to have a ton of stuff on me anyway. So we should pretty much be at this point that we've sealed off the base. Okay? And it should create a full bag. So the bottom should be completely sealed. Okay? Straight, no lumps, no bumps, no strings. Okay? Once we have that completed, then remember I said that we still have to keep the legs to our pants. So these are the areas that were cut. 1 and 2. The easiest way of going about creating a belt for the bag, because again, it's a crossbody, is for you to utilize the excess fabric that you have. Waste is haste, right? So what you want to do is this. You want to measure how long you want your bag to be. Okay. So again, if it's a crossbody, then we're going against the diameter of our body, right? So we're going from a diagonal perspective here. Starting, measuring tape, starting from your 1. Remember that. Don't do it from this side, guys. You're going to get confused. It's metrics. Here. Okay? Cross it over. From there to there. That makes it about, I should do no less than 44 inches. 44 inches. So measured against the excess fabric that you guys have to ensure that you have enough, which should be enough anyway. But I'm just going to do this for visuals just so you guys understand exactly what the process is, and we can kind of go from there. So measuring that out here. Okay. So each leg puts me at about 22 inches. If you guys can see that. Cool. 22 inches on both sides. So that means my straps have to be what? Combined, right? So you want to take your scissors and cut straight down the seam. Here's the seam. So remember I said 22 inches, 44 inches total. So this full expanse is 22 inches. So you need both of these to utilize for your strap. More than likely, we can create a tie and add like a button at the top. It'll be dope. But first thing you want to do, cut down the seam. Clearly, it's been a long week. All right. All right. And now if you're not totally accurate, meaning if you skew a bit from the seam, that's perfectly fine. Because once you really start to construct and develop it, it's not really going to make that much of a difference. You won't really be able to see it. And you can always fix the flaws like after the fact. So keep continuing down. And what I'll do is just expedite that process. Done. That's what should be created. Okay? That's piece 1. Piece 2, you want to complete the same action. So straight down, the same. Okay. All right. Hi, Lexus. You must have overslept, huh? Give me a wave so then that way I can do your attendance, okay? And you got to get caught up. So do you have the denim that you were telling me about? I know your parents don't want you to cut it, but we could at least do the embellishments together, okay? So you want to grab that and then I can show you how you're able to do it. Are you still interested in bleaching? Because with that, that's a whole process too. So if you are, just give me a thumbs up. And Alexis, if you got your classmates on IG, tell them that they're missing class. Because we at least have our core 6 to 7 kids. So something's going on today. Anyway. All right. So now that we have our 2 pieces, we want to work it like this. And I think we have more than enough fabric that we can kind of do a lot with it. So I'm going to edit this just a bit. Hello. Hi. Not too sure who that is. So if it's any of my students, you just want to kind of let me know your name so that way I can keep track of the attendance. Nonetheless, this piece is large enough that we can really divide it into 2 and still be able to accomplish the same factor. And what I did want to point out too is I specifically chose this jean because it has a distressed detail. So it kind of shows you that you're able to do, hi Jason, that you're able to do both processes, okay? So if I want to have this go throughout, I can have the entire strap go throughout and it gives it like a very chic type of look. But distressing can be done with items that you actually have at your home, like a cheese grater, for instance. That's the interesting thing about fashion. There's not necessarily specific tools that you would say that you have to use. You, considering this COVID-19, we have to get very creative in terms of our implementation. And if anybody knows me, you guys know that I'm a big DIY crafter. So I've really had to remix it a lot of different ways because I don't have access to the same materials I used to. So you've got to get creative, right? So that said, let's continue down. And if anybody's just joined, and Jason, if you're still on, hi, Ruben. I know it's a slight delay, but I hope everybody's doing well. I did still want to do a check-in just to see how everybody is doing. So if you can just give me like a thumbs up, that would be so amazing. You know, because I got to do a self-care check. It's a lot going on and everybody's in, right? And if you got a partner at home, I know you're ready to kill them. And hopefully your parents are not ready to kill you too. Okay? There you go. Thank you for the thumbs up. Janine. Well, I hope everybody's being safe. It's definitely difficult times for us all, but hopefully we're able to add a little bit of sparkle and sunshine to your day and us getting some really creative things done and really being able to make it happen. Yes, God. So let's keep going down. So what I'm doing right now is project 3. 5. Great. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm just teaching and hanging out, baby. And I know you have a copy of this too, but I'm doing a project from this book. And this book, it is project number 3. Okay, page 15. And basically what we're doing is we're just breaking down how to take an old pair of denim and make it something new. So I mentioned to the students before that we have illustrated versions of exactly what they're supposed to do to make it as simple as possible. So we're now at this step. So this is the final step, that we're creating a belt. So rather than me using fabric, because again, I don't have access to the same resources I used to, we've got to make it work. So with the excess fabric, which is cut, so see there, that excess fabric that's here, that is what you're going to utilize in order for you to create this or recreate this step. So creating your belt and creating your strap. So ultimately, it is going to look like this. See that? Pretty dope. All right. So moving on, all you have to do is just inversely fold it here. And let me move this so you guys can see. Here and there. My old instructor, this is when I was in high school, my fashion instructor, used to call it envelope style. So not quite an envelope in my opinion, but if it works for you guys, then hey, you know, work for my classmates. So once you fold it in, you want to assess it to make sure that it is even throughout, okay? So what do you guys think? That looks pretty even, right? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. So let's open it back up. Because now we've already visually measured exactly where it should fall. So in that, you are just placing dollops of glue and rolling it. Okay? Rolling it over. Roll it to secure. Hi, Cheyenne. How are you? You guys are late today. But I won't be shady. I'm glad you joined me. So Shy. Oh, hey Janiyah. Hi Janiyah. How are you? So I was asking everybody how they're doing. So you guys want to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? It's so. Oh, thank you, Ruben. Ruben gave me a thumbs up. So what about you, Cheyenne? How are you feeling? And then Alexis, I didn't see anything from you too. So how are you feeling too? She must be sleeping. Anyway, all right. So then just continue on. And fun fact, I actually am joined by Ruben. So Ruben is one of our listeners. And he was one of my first students. He's in his 20s, mid-20s right now. So when I had him, he was... Ruben, what grade were you in? 10th grade? 10th grade. Oh, live at the same time. Okay. I got you. Well, thanks for joining regardless. So I got you guys logged in. So if it happens to be that any of your classmates are still like in the same position, just have them come on the live at some point in time. But again, you guys can always like kind of join in. Oh, it was 10th grade. Yep. I had him in 10th grade and it's still my little brother now. It's crazy. Been doing this for years. I ain't gonna tell my age, but I've been doing it for a while. Anyway, if it's any of your classmates, you said you're old now. You sure are old. I saw your gray hairs the last time I saw you. All right. So keep in mind, guys, that you can always come on our live, at least for the 24 hours, and then I'll make sure that I do a screen recording. He was in my class for 2 years. For 2 years. That's pretty dope. In Montgomery County. Yep. So I'll do a screen recording and make sure that I have that uploaded. So at least that way you guys have the information. But I want to make sure that you guys are looking at your core materials, okay? Because we have to end our session with us doing like a wrap-up quiz, okay? To test exactly what you've learned throughout the course of this year. Again, I understand where everybody's coming from now. That this is a difficult time. Okay? It's not easy for anyone to work within a visual space. So we're making an adaptation. So I say that to say, I'm not expecting you guys to be perfect. I'm just expecting you guys to try. So showing up is half the battle. Okay? And it's my goal to support you guys as best as I can while we're all in this really precarious state. Just to be as successful as you can be. Because we can always work on it next year and figure the rest out. Okay? All right. So strap 1 is already done. Bam. Love it. Now, we've got to work on strap number 2. So I have my tools right here. The easiest way, if you happen to have like a workstation at home. Okay. Last side. Alexis, don't forget to let me know if you brought your denim with you. Remember we talked about it last week. And you asked about the embellishment portion. So I've kind of catered it just based on I know that you're not able to cut items at home. Right? So if you have it, you got to grab it. Because unfortunately, right after this, I have to move on to the next thing. So I want to make sure that you're maximizing your time. Okay? Alrighty. I'm doing a little more glue just to secure it. I think that's what's missing. I need some music next week. Anyway, all right. Second strap done. So now you have both. You have strap 1, you have strap 2. Okay? All that needs to happen now is that we are puncturing a hole here. So the hole is made like this. And you want to do it at the base. So this is going to be the ankle of your denim. Those are the same. Okay? Why do we do it the same way? Hi, Atira. How are you? All right. So why do we have it the same way, students? Conformity, right? Uniformity, rather. Okay? So about an inch. How you doing? Oh my goodness, good to see you. Thank you for joining. All right, so we're about an inch. So remember, from the base right here, the nook of your thumb to the top of your thumb is exactly 1 inch. 1 inch. So we're going to base that from the bottom of your denim. Okay, that's an inch. So you take your scissors, fold it together, cut it. Okay, where it ends up happening in turn. I know that's right. The last something. So keep cutting. So you create an opening. And that is where our button is going to go. Okay? So we want to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm all about uniformity, right? So we got to make sure that it's the same in terms of where our buttonholes are placed. So I have a pen right here. You can use a pen, you can use a marker, you can use a pencil. As long as it's dark enough that you'll be able to see your marking. Stick it through the hole. So keep in mind, those two have to match. Have both ends match. This already has an opening. Stick your writing instrument through that and just create a marking. Okay? See? Once I create the marking, then that means it's going to be at the same positioning. All right? So it's all about the uniformity. It's all about the balance and measurements. But you want to do it where we have limited supplies. Got to use your brain, right? All right. So cut it. Same thing. And we have our opening. All right, cool. So now that that is done, we now have to add our buttons. My bad. That's penetrated now. Cool. See? Done. Buttons. All of these things are easily attainable at the Dollar Tree, dollar store. Once you open it up, you can select which buttons that you want. Now, keeping in mind with fashion, you can kind of go a little crazy when it comes to colors. Colors, to me, I like to be a little more excitable. I got black on today, but I'm working. But ordinarily, you can kind of play with colors. You can play with contrast as well. So I say that to say this, that it doesn't necessarily mean that the buttons have to match. I personally like this green button that stands out. So that might be something that I even use as the base right here. That's kind of cute. So I'll put this to the side because that's something that I think I'm going to use. And then I want to select another. So these two are actually the same size. So that's going to be kind of cool. You see those? Okay. So we're going to use those at the sides. Sides right here. Right. Thank you. It immediately caught my eye. I think when I even bought the container in the bin, I was like, oh, that's so cute. Okay, let me use that. And then I can always dress it up. You can always add like embellishments. You can always add jewels, whatever it is that you want to. I mean, it's up to you. You know, that's the thing about fashion. You can be as creative as you want to be. It's not really a conformity sort of environment. Conformity based, rather. Okay? So how about we start with this? So we'll just add the glue towards the base. And then again, I'm going to place this directly in the center of my crossbody bag. And there we go. And then for my students, please be careful when it comes to hot glue. Same thing in the classroom. Remember, I used to police it like crazy, that I do not want you guys to get hurt. Okay? It's very easy to be able to do so. I get burnt as an adult. I don't want you guys to get burnt. So just place just enough to secure the item, you know, that you want to have adhered. Okay? So we're going to allow that to dry. Then we're going to work on our sides. So remember, I said both of these buttons are the same size. So they should fit directly into our buttonholes, which they do. Yep, they fit into our buttonholes here. So those would be the best bet. Let me widen it just a little so it's not too tight. Widen it on both sides. Now, test it out. There we go. Perfect. And then let me widen this strap too. Perfect. All right. Let's add the glue on the sides. Bam. Okay. I did just a little dollop. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So make sure that they match. So remember, we talked about it all being uniformity. Okay? So those steps matter. You don't want one button right here, another button over there, and there. It's going to look crazy, okay? So you want it to be balanced. All right? So I've already placed one. Now I'm going to place the other. 11:36. Perfect. Let's give it a minute so it dries. Let's test out our ties. Okay, perfect. Ties really well. Another cute thing that I've seen have happened, What is going on with me today? My speech is just off. This is terrible. Ordinarily, I'm a, It's me, Mani. Who is Mani? Oh, Imani. Okay. Hey, Mani. Mani. So, especially for my students, when you guys join, hey, you just got in there. Just let me know. Just text your name so that way I can get your attendance together. Okay? I hope everybody is doing really amazingly, doing really well. All right. So, another aspect that I've seen done with some students is this. That you don't necessarily have to tie it at the top. You can button it. You can secure it. Okay? You can tie it with ribbon. It is completely and totally up to you. Okay? So, let me see. Alexis, how would you want this to look? So, how would you want to finish the top of your straps? Come on, Alexis. You've been quiet the whole time. If Alexis doesn't do it, if I have any other volunteers, I'll just do it my way. But I want it to be interactive. Come on, guys. I know it's early. I know it's the end of the week. Nothing. It's a little bit of a delay. That's a button that caught my... Okay. So how would you guys finish the top? What about Mr. Williams? What would you do? I see you, Mr. Williams. What would you do? You got some style. Okay. Button number 1. That's cool, isn't it? Ooh. My bad. Okay, let me secure that. All right, let's try this again. More glue is obviously what's needed. See, that's that thing about those live bloopers, but you know, hey, that's a human moment. So I'm going to own it, honey. And just for added assurance, let me add a little more glue on the other side so it's not a problem. Here's the other thing too that's also important. Also important is that these buttons have button holes. You guys have learned throughout the course of classes how to sew, like hand sew especially. So in that process, you don't necessarily have to glue it. You can also sew it. The only difference with us having to glue this buttonhole is because it's metal based. You can't sew through the metal. You can definitely sew through the fabric. Okay? So that said, we should be good right now. So then how we'll finish it out is that I'm just adding the straps. Okay? I'll do an additional button at the top. So that's making an opening between the two. And we should be good. We should be open for questions. Because it's 11:40 right now. So we have about 5 minutes. And I want to make sure that we are remaining on schedule. So talk to me, students. Do you have any questions? Or talk to me, Lexus, because looks like everybody else has dispersed. And Alexis, we got some catching up to do, right? So what questions do you have for me? Okay. And by the way, please give me a thumbs up if you received the electronic book, because then that's what we're utilizing for the next couple of weeks. and the completion of our projects. Okay? So it's so much easier if you do it as we go along with class. Okay? So if you do not have it, or if you lost it, or you didn't receive my email, please let me know. So Tara, how you doing? You good over there? Perfect. Done. Okay. So Alexis, you got everything you need, right? That's basically what you're saying, right? Okay. I'm going to trust you. All right. So all we do is finish it off by tying it in a knot. Okay. And then we are complete. And there we have it. We have our crossbody clutch. So I definitely wanted to showcase and highlight the button detail here. Okay. And the button detail on the other opposite side as well. At the very top, all you had to do is tie it in a knot. Again, you can finish it off by also adding a button. And it is going to perfectly crisscross around my body based on my measurements as well. So we have about 2 minutes. Alexis, you have any questions? Text me what your questions are. All right, so what we'll say in conclusion is this. This is completely done. If you don't have your denim on you today, Alexis, that's fine, because we can take a couple minutes next week to add some embellishments, jewels, etc. On it, because we still have it here, or even ribbon. Here is where we're talking about utilizing a white tee. So I have a basic white tee, but you can use any tee that you want. And in that, we have to upcycle those goods. So we're upcycling those goods using fabric spray paints, Kool-Aid, tape. Okay? So it should be a really good time next week. So hopefully you guys have learned something. I'm so happy that you were able to join me. And if you have any questions, especially for my students, please just check the full live. I'm going to screen record to make sure that you guys have it available. And have an amazing week. Okay? Love and light, guys. Bye.